Hey guys! I'm just going to wait like a few seconds for people to drop in and then I'm going to start. But you can type because I can read your comments, I think. This is actually the first time I'm going live, so I'm a little bit nervous. Hi! So, right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it short. I hope you guys can hear me. Ah! I hope you guys can hear me. Can you guys say like, oh, we can hear you clearly, or no, you gotta speak up, or something like that? You're very sweet. Hello. All right. Thank you very much. So, what I prepared is I just thought I would go through my sketchbooks and my art. I think I explained it a little bit before. I've been drawing pretty much my entire life, but I've only been seriously studying portraits for 2 years. And so I started in summer 2016. So since I'm going to try to keep this short, let's just get started. So first up, these are my first portrait drawings ever. Before that, I used to do only gesture drawing and like anatomy studies and stuff like that. And so what you're going to see here is the very first heads I ever drew, and it ain't pretty. But anyway, let's dive in. And as I'm going through these sketchbooks, I'm just going to explain to you like what did I do to get better, how did I practice, and stuff like that. So the first things I drew, I only used my trusted mechanical pencil. Now, mechanical pencils are, in my opinion, well, depends on your style, but in my opinion, mechanical pencils are not the best to achieve realism. Maybe for details, but not for bigger portraits to entirely make out of mechanical pencils. I mean, of course, there's people who have this kind of style and it works out, but for me, it didn't. Anyway, let's go. Let's go, go, go. Oh, yeah, here it starts. I think this was the first head, so you can see I made a lot of mistakes here, yeah? I'm going to point them out for you so you can learn from them. First of all, I didn't know how to shade. I didn't know how to blend. I didn't know how to make areas black. I mean, I had some sort of idea about bone structure, like a little bit, but obviously not a lot. Let's see. I think I showed this one in the preview for this video. So, drawing small faces is, I think to draw small faces, you first have to understand how to draw big faces. So first start out a little bit bigger. Anyway, so as you can see, what I didn't blend. Like, for example, you can see that if I would have just blended this like this, it would have already looked better. If I would have just blended his face a little bit like this, it would have already looked better. But I didn't. Also, I didn't know how to draw hair. I think this was actually one of the first portraits that I was a little bit proud of. Don't know if you guys can recognize him. Probably not. He's called Inoke. He's from the J-pop band Hey Say Jump. But yeah, I sort of got the proportions right here. So as you can see, I just practiced faces. And then I sort of got one right at the first, I think it was the 30th try. How do you make the white dot in the eyes? Oh, I'm going to explain to you that a little bit later. Yeah, that's true. Then here I think I started drawing K-pop. Look. I think you can sort of recognize him. Anyway. Oh, and this was, I made this one, wanted to show you because this was actually the first time I drew BTS, I think. It was in 2016 summer. Maybe you cannot recognize it, but it's V. And it's funny because here I started drawing, I started using more like darker shades, and then later on, a year later, I just stopped using them. Very strange. So anyway, these were the very first things that I did. And then I noticed that this tiny sketchbook, I got it from my dad. This tiny sketchbook just wasn't working out, and I needed something bigger to start practicing. This notebook, I think, this one, you can see it's a Derwent. It's actually excellent if you want to use watercolors and mixed media. But for practicing, for sketching, I didn't really like it. So what I did was I moved on to a bigger stuff. Have you ever been discouraged by looking at other artists? Well, yeah, there's so many great artists out there, and then if you look at someone who's really good with one particular medium and you think, oh, I wish I could do that. But you know what? You should not think like that. You should think, I cannot do that yet. So just always think, in the future, I will also be able to do that. Maybe in 20 years, but I will get there. At least that's my philosophy. So this, I also put the dates on it. This is in October 2016. And what I did here was, well, so what I did here was I figured out, one of my weaknesses is eyes. So what I did, oh really, it's your birthday. I started drawing then in a big sketchbook. So what I did here, I figured out, okay, eyes don't work out. So what I got to do is I got to practice eyes. So I took this seriously and I started like, Jesus Christ, I did so many eyes. And then I also just started practicing more. Here is actually the first time that I started blending. So, thank you very much. So I started blending with my fingers here because then I noticed, oh wait, this paper, I can actually blend with this paper. Blending is such an important skill, guys. For, use your fingers, use whatever, but just the fact that you can make something, shade something better with blending, it's so important. And if you use blending, but I'm going to talk about that later, once you blend stuff, you can actually erase it as well. Let me just erase, like for example, what would I do here? So you can see, you can make something shiny. This was, oh yeah. Oh, by the way, I was really into EXO back then. Oh, there's another there. Then I started figuring out, oh, I gotta improve my noses. So I did noses and lips and eyes and just practiced so many of them, like so many. Oh, there's my fish J-Hope with 3 eyes. Very funny. And here you can see, I don't even know how many eyes and noses and lips I practiced, but it really helped because once you start practicing them, once you start getting more into, oh, here it goes, the shadow goes here, for example, the shadow goes underneath the nose, the shadow goes also in the eyeball. Eyeballs are not only white, they're also a little bit shaded. Stuff like that. This is a razor. Oh, yeah. This one, you mean? The Tombow, this is, for my art, it's essential. If I did not have this one, I couldn't make my art. Because this is also, by the way, this person who just asked how you do the white dots. One of the ways you can do a white dot is like this. Let me see. Here we have an eye from 2016. See? And then it looks better. That's the magic of an eraser. Bonk. How do you push through bad art phase? I just push through by forcing myself to draw. Like I just force myself. Put my pen on a paper and just do it. Then I personally, I didn't even have a JB face, but my friend did. And then I wanted to draw because my friend liked him. The eraser's name is Tombo's. Oh, it's really so eroded you can't even really read it. It's the Mono Zero eraser. But if you just check out my tutorials, the name of that is in there as well. Let's see. This is all kind of boring. Oh, this was actually, I think, no, it was not. Oh yeah. Also, like what I did back then is when a face wouldn't work out, I would just scrap it. And I mean, just do it. Like if something doesn't work out, fuck it. Just take something else. Measurements for drawing complete faces. What I did back then was I used my like I did it from the computer screen and then like this. How do you draw hair? I'm going to talk about that as well. Don't worry. Let's see. Oh, this is actually, I think this is a good one because if I want to explain hair, the hair here, what I did is I basically shaded everything. And then I started drawing strands with this eraser. I think this was around the time that I got this eraser, and it was an eye-opener for me because you can just, you know, just let me show you guys. See, you can just make hair really easily with this. Really easily, and especially white hair. Like a lot of you guys always tell me that, oh, I have such a lot of problems making drawing white hair. But drawing white hair isn't that difficult. If you erase white hair, that's how you draw white hair. You shouldn't draw it, you should erase it. What's the notebook name? I don't know this notebook name actually. It's a Lana, but personally I don't buy this one anymore. The paper is too soft for me. I find if you erase it a lot of times, then the paper actually goes away, so it's a bit difficult. Let me see. How old am I? I am almost 30, guys. I was born in the same year as G-Dragon. Oh, wrong way. No. Anyone knows this guy? He was so talented. Anyway. Let's see if I... Oh yeah, here I finally found out the wonder that is called white gel pens. I use this one, personally. It's called the Uniball Signal. Can you see it? And it works wonders. Let me show you. Damn, there you go. See? It's very nice, and you can really make especially eyeballs and highlights on lips and this little dot on noses. I think you personally, I mean, if you buy one of these here in Germany, they cost like €3 or something. It's really worth it. When did I start drawing seriously? It's 2016, and this is actually the sketchbook from 2016. This was the first one. I don't know if any of you guys followed me since the beginning, but this one was the first one I ever put on Instagram. Yeah. Because then I remember I showed this one to my brother. And my brother said, "Oh, it actually looks like a person." And I thought, wow, that's just the best compliment ever. Thanks. And then I put it on Instagram. Oh my. There's J-Hope. So that was the end. I ended it in the February of 2017. I did another one of these sketchbooks, and I'll go through it a little bit quicker. MacPaper in Germany. Yeah, MacPaper in Germany sells it. That's true. It's about €3. I sound like a nice person. Oh, thank you. It's very sweet of you. All right, so this one I also put on Instagram, and I remember I got 400 likes, and I was like, what? 400 people like this drawing. That's amazing. So, what did I start doing here? I think I just went on drawing details a lot. What I basically did every day, guys, every day I was drawing these kind of... My best friend is sending me messages and it makes sounds. Hoppa. So, what I basically did is for 1 hour a day, at least 1 hour a day, I did details like this and this and this. In retrospect, maybe details wasn't the best idea. Maybe I should have just worked on like entire faces, but I also did that. But it did help me with learning how to shade, how to blend, how to highlight. Is there a reason you started drawing? Oh, you have an embarrassing reason? Do tell. Why did I start drawing? I think I started drawing because I remember my parents, whenever I made a drawing when I was younger, my parents would say, oh, this is the best drawing ever. And they would put it on the fridge and something like that. And then that really boosted my confidence as a 4-year-old. And now I'm here. So, yeah, I started doing more eyes over here. Here I started figuring out that the more time you put into something, the more detail you can put into it. And this is also important. Like, good drawings with a lot of details, they take a lot of time. So the more time you put into it, the better. Let's see. Oh yeah, here you can also see like what I do is I put like little papers in between to make sure it doesn't smudge. I work as an artist? No, I work as a researcher actually. I don't do anything with art. Jackson. Let's see. Let's go quickly through this one. Ears. Oh yeah, here I figured out, okay, enough eyes and lips and noses. I gotta move on to ears because my ears suck. Then I started doing the ears. Oh, and here I tried to draw this Damien, and it really didn't work out. How do you do the background? I'll get to it. Anyway, what I wanted to say, sorry. I tried to draw Damien here, and the hands didn't work out. Like, no matter how I tried it, it didn't work out. So what I did was, okay, fuck it. I gotta study hands. So then for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I started practicing hands. And more hands. And more hands. And like a shit ton of hands. And more hands. And, well, you get the picture. And then I redraw the Damien picture. And then the hands worked out. So just remember, every time that something doesn't work out, just practice it for a week. Just practice the same thing for a week and over and over and over again. And then if you retry it, it will work. Always. Always. Oh, jealousy. You had a friend and she was very good at drawing, and you looked at her work and you was like, you want to draw like that. That's a very good reason, I think. How do you start a drawing? I always start with the eyes. I start with the shape of the face, and as far as I know, all professional artists do that, so that's probably a good idea, I think. How do you draw bodies? That's also difficult. Oh, my mom loves him, so I drew him for my mom. Here I started doing birthday pictures. I still do birthday pictures. I don't know if you guys noticed, but every time it's one of the birthdays of the idols that I stand, I always do a birthday picture. We have some Woozy. Here I started focusing a lot on shading. Like, Some shading. Shading is one of the most difficult part of doing portraits, and you notice that the face actually has a lot of values. It has very dark and very light, and it's really tricky to get that right. So sometimes to just, do a few quick sketches and try to see the shapes of the shadow, and just try to, blend that in shadow, and draw it and blend it, and just try to practice shadowing, because shadows is also a very important thing of portraits. Let's see. I think this is kind of boring stuff. Oh, here I started using more darker colors again. About some of you just pencil names. I always use Faber-Castell. Let me show you. One of my favorites is, usually I start out with 2H or something, and then I work my way up. But Faber-Castell's is, I think, the best one. I don't know if you guys know these kind of pencils. We need more light here. They're like, how do I show you this? They have like some sort of lead in there, so it's not a wooden pencil. They are actually made of metal. These are really good. They cost a little bit more, but you're able to get such a super fine point that is great for details. Do you use any other mediums? Yes, I do. I also sometimes do charcoal and watercolor. But the problem with graphite is that it shines so much. Graphite is annoying to... Yeah, that's true. Darker ones. Here I started doing charcoal actually, and then I really quickly figured out that this was not the paper for charcoal. Here you can see some more of my full body sketches. Oh, this is actually interesting. Yeah, charcoal, like once you put charcoal on a paper, you almost cannot erase it. With graphite, by the way, it's also, darker graphite is also difficult to erase. But so this is actually one of the drawings that I did that, even though it kind of turned out well, I think, like it's not really weird, I just hate it. I don't know why, I just really hate it. It's not my style. I think that's the problem. So what I'm going to show you next is some of the things that I did that around this time I figured out, okay, so doing, pencil drawings over and over again is a little bit boring, because at this time what I did was every day for about 2 to 4 hours I would do pencil sketches, and it got me so bored, guys. It got me so bored. So I switched it up and I started doing some watercolor just for fun. These actually, they worked out nice, I think. Like, it's fun. With this, you can also see, like, I started out doing as like drawing. I started out doing full body. I started drawing full body with when I was 17 or something. So, do you prefer drawing smaller or bigger portraits? I like both. I still think maybe I make a postcard set of these because, they're so much fun. Even though I'm not really good at watercolor, it's still fun to do something different. Like if you constantly do the same medium, you get bored of it, and it's good to switch it up sometimes and just say fuck it and, How do you make the time to draw? I have a really busy job, and afterwards I just, in the evening, what I do is I barely watch movies. I barely watch movies, and I don't really like to do anything else but drawing. Haha. What sketchbook brand? I'm going to, well, this one is my favorite sketchbook brand. It's Pink Pig. This sketchbook, guys, it's just so good. The blending goes so easily. It's like whoosh. You can just, Do you use grid? No, I don't use grid. I know a lot of artists that I look up to that do use grids, but personally I just don't use it. How do you get the proportions? Well, if you don't exercise, just practicing. And also what I do use is, for example, like I have something on the computer screen or on my tablet screen, then I do like this, and then to your sketchbook, or just measure it. Just if you can't really get it right, just use your ruler, measure it, what's wrong, and then you can check it. Did you ever draw with charcoal? Yep, I did. I'm going to show you that later as well. Do you draw anything besides people? Well, sometimes, but I hate it. I don't like drawing anything except people. Let's go to the more interesting stuff. Yeah, here I figured out, wow, this stuff blends well. And I mean it. Like this sketchbook, Pink Pig, for pencil drawing, it blends like a charm. Like, you can just, it's perfect. I like it. So what I did here was just very short, because here I noticed that I had a lot of issues with proportions, getting proportions right. So I did a lot of short sketches, trying to get proportions right, trying to work on it. Here's another way that I use, like I try to keep it from smudging by putting tissue paper in between. Yeah, this is just lots of this kind of stuff I already put on Instagram, I think. Yeah, I think this was also, I think here you can see really clearly what I mean with blending well. It works so well, the sketchbook. What do I use for blending? I use brushes like this to just, get it softer. I also use Q-tips for but the difference between Q-tips and brushes is brushes will give you very soft, very light blending, and Q-tips will get you a much heavier blending, like you will just smudge it. Sometimes you need that. Backgrounds, by the way, a lot of people just checked out the be sure, yes. And a lot of people just ask me, how do you do backgrounds? One of the ways you can do backgrounds is just lightly sketch it and then just wipe it like this. And then you will get like this kind of grayish background, which is really neutral. How do you shade and contour the face? You look at where the shadow is, and then you try to shade in there, and then you blend it with like a brush, like this. Actually, I don't know if you guys do a lot of makeup, but the way you shape and contour your eyelids, for example, works a lot like just shaping the eyelids on the paper. Here's more gesture, just practicing shit. Oh yeah, this is actually, I still really like this drawing. I think it's, I don't know, I think it's fun. Yeah, and I think here was the point where I thought, okay, so his skin looks really nice here, but it kind of looks too perfect. Like, it almost looks like it's plastic or something. And then I got a sort of an issue with that. Like, skin isn't that plastic all the time. I need to work on getting a more realistic feel to skin. This one was my icon for a long time. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one is still really popular. I don't know. Someone said you made me want to start drawing again. I hope I did. I'm very happy when people say that. I also did some charcoal. I mean, I can quickly show you one or something. Charcoal. Let me explain to you guys. Charcoal is so much different from pencils, like from graphite pencils. And one of the things that really is an issue for me is the fact that you have a lot less control over charcoal. So yeah, it's a lot more difficult to get details right. However, what charcoal does really nicely is it makes the best contrasts, like the really blackest black and very white. So yeah, but they generally and they're also really messy charcoals. But I miss doing charcoals. Maybe I should do that more often. Let's see. Then we go to one of the... I'm almost done, guys. I'm sorry. Am I taking a long time? Yeah, I am. Try to make it quick. Do they all have the same texture? I think they do. But if you're unsure about it, then try to get A4 size, 150 grams, acid-free. It's also in my art supplies post. How old were you when you first started to draw so good? Oh, I don't know. I don't draw that well. I mean, it's not bad, but here I started to do more BTS. More BTS. This one I never posted, but I still like it because his skin looks decent. I think when around this time I stopped using the B shades of the pencils and I just only used H and HB, and it gives you a really soft effect. Like if you want a soft looking portrait or something, then I advise you to only make use of H and 2H and 4H and stuff like that, because it looks super soft and super angelic and stuff like that. But personally, I like big contrast. I like black, and for me, although I kind of like the look of it, it wasn't what I wanted to draw. So I moved on. Do you use white charcoal? Yeah, I do. It doesn't show. It doesn't show probably because you're using white paper. When you do use gray paper or tinted paper, then it works. Yeah, I make this one for Cancel. I don't know if you guys know her. She's such a great artist and such a lovely person. And I wanted to draw her some V-Hope, and then I drew V-Hope. I don't know. Oh, and this one I make a lot of art because I get inspired by my friends. I don't know if you guys know Sky, Pastel Sky Lover, she's called. And she's really into Taekook and Vkook. And personally, I kind of ship them now because she keeps sending me stuff about it. But back then I didn't really ship them. So yeah, I made art for her. Katahina. Let's see. Any tips on working with gray toned paper? Just try it out. But if you do work with gray toned paper, always make sure to use not just blacks and grays. Always use white. Like I can show you guys later. On gray toned paper, I find charcoal working the best. Let's see. Well, these are lots of shipping posts. Oh yeah, this one I still think this was the first drawing that I started using B shades again, and then I thought, oh, I missed using the B so much. Like this one, for example, is 6B, and you can get a very nice dark black with it. The darkest black I use is 9B, and it's this guy, and it works great for backgrounds. Just like and then blend it, and you have black backgrounds. It is Faber-Castell also. You can buy it in art shops. You can probably also buy it from Amazon, and this works very well to make backgrounds with. Just and then blend. Tips on drawing white hair. I just gave some tips on it. You mess up people so bad. Just you know, practice. I used to mess up faces a lot, and then I started practicing a lot, and then, you know, 2 years later I can draw decent faces. It's really all about practice. Here you can see, here I put a lot of work in skin and rendering skin, and it's so satisfying, really. Like, you know, just draw a pimple. Oh, thank you, Katahina. It's fun because some of my friends are watching and they're making comments. Let's see. Oh, this one I never posted. Because I wasn't entirely sure of it. But they look cute. Oh yeah, and you can also see the difference in size of the heads is quite a lot. For example, like if you compare this one to my last one, so clean here, like, I mean, this one is a lot bigger. And if you want to work more details in your paintings, in your drawings, you have to work big. You have to, you know, work bigger. So you can, it also takes a lot longer because you have to, you know, draw hair by hair. You can see it. You have to draw hair by hair. You have to, you know, really render every single fucking pore. It costs so much time. But the result it gives, I mean, the more time you put in a drawing, the better the result. And this is really true. All right. So then I'm just going to show you a few of my latest works, and then we're already done. Yeah. So what I did here is I started going back to black. Like here, I think it started here. You can see it's really black. I just fucking love black. What can I say? Ooh, you guys want a sneak peek? I have some here. I mean, I don't know if you guys know it, but I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I will be going on a 1 month travel in a few days to Japan and to Australia. So I won't be able to draw. And then I also already drew Jungkook for his birthday. Wait, I'm going to give you like a 2-second sneak peek. Really quick. Ready? Woo! That's it. Done. No more sneak peeks. All right. So that was it. Basically, my message for you guys would be practice every day. If you want to progress in drawing, practice every day. Point out your weaknesses and then start focusing on that. What's the longest time you took for doing a drawing? Probably like 10 hours or something. That wasn't 2 seconds. All right. There it was. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So basically, I'm going to wrap this up because I took 40 minutes or something. Point out your own weaknesses. Like, what do you think you need to practice on? Point that out and then start practicing that for 1 week, every day, for an hour. Practice and practice and practice. And it's not fun, but afterwards, after 1 week, you will see a lot of progress, and that is fun. And then another point is start mixing up, start experimenting. Like, you use a lot of blacks, dark colors, and experiment with just using light colors. Or if you only use light colors, do the opposite, switch it up. then who knows, good things might happen. Thank you very much, guys. How do the pencil like stick in there? They just stick. I don't know. It just works. Yeah, I'll put it on highlights. If you guys have any other questions, you can always, message me, but I probably won't be very active for a while. Just FYI. Okay. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, to my ramblings, as always. I love you a lot. And then I wish you all the best and good luck with practicing. And just keep doing it. You can do it. Okay, bye-bye.